Hi, I'm Tally, and recently I found out that it's impossible to beat Borderlands 2 with only pistols, so I thought I'd ask myself, what other runs from Borderlands 2 can I definitively say are impossible? Introducing One-Eye Amaya, an ex-competitive Call of Duty quickscoper and briefly a member of FaZe Clan, but she left because Rain wouldn't stop calling her mid. Together, we're going to find out the answer to the question, can you beat Borderlands 2 with only a sniper rifle? Let's start off with the ground rules. The only guns that I can use are sniper rifles. I can use grenades, but I cannot buy any more slots, and it's a true Vault Hunter mode run. If the video does okay, then everything else will be UVHM from here on out. Let's dive in. The run starts by waking up in a pile of snow while a robot digs us a grave. You might think this is a bad way to start your day, but you would be wrong. Turns out this particular robot is actually a certified seaman. So he starts to take me towards his boat, but then his eye gets stolen, which isn't a sentence I ever thought I would say out loud, but I have. This is an easy problem to solve though, because much like every other idiot brave enough to steal eyes around One-Eye Amaya, the problem is solved with violence and bullets. While we're on the topic of problems that are solved the same way that I solve a Rubik's Cube, the local robo-optician won't come out of his house until we take out all of his neighbours, so I clean up the Berg and Sir Hammerlock fixes up the Seaman and we go on our merry way. One thing I'm going to address is that all throughout this run I use Cloud Kill, which some people would say is a bit of a cop-out, that it makes the game too easy. What I say to that is cry about it. Anyway, Boom Boom was a walk in the park, but unfortunately I launched the Seaman roughly 5 miles away, but also conveniently exactly where he needs to be in order for me to beat the mission as well. That's good. Once I've caught up with my new best friend, I take on Captain Flint, who I did expect to be a bit of a pain in the arse, but honestly he's fine. Just takes a little patience because I haven't become OP yet. Eventually though, with a little elbow grease and the rage of 10 Doomslayers, I take down the captain, and the Seaman becomes Captain Seaman. So he takes me to the mainland, where I make it to Sanctuary and meet Private Jessup. For some odd reason, I just think he's a neat little guy. Turns out, I've just missed Roland. The Firehawk stole him. How do I know? She left a message, because there isn't a single resident of Pandora that doesn't record every single thought they've ever had. So off to Frostburn Canyon we go. Here's where I learn I'm under-leveled, but Roland needs me, so I can't go grind right now. So I'll just beeline it to the lair of the Firehawk and pray that I can run fast enough to rescue Roland. Good news, it turns out the Firehawk is actually Lilith. Bad news, I hit like a limp noodle. I tried grinding on some spiders earlier, but not gonna lie, I had to work a bit too hard for that. Anyway, in this fight my only use is serving as a nuisance while Lilith does the actual damage. I mean, I did take on a couple of the big guys mostly solo, but it definitely took a while. A long while in fact. Despite that, we got there in the end, but I am now aware of how vastly under-leveled I am. So in order to get some better loot and some levels, I hopped off to the Marcus Headhunter DLC. In this DLC, an evil snowman decides that Seasonal Cheer needs to be replaced with a Summertime Sadness, so, as a staunch defender of my right to Christmas in July, I take on a bunch of snowmen, a small bandit camp, and I steal a train full of presents, which I promptly ride all the way back to town, and now that I've delivered Christmas unto the locals, it's time to free them from their Christmas curse. This means I have to fight the big guy over here, but that's okay, that's actually what I want. I came here to grind. I ended up not getting anything too crazy, but a couple levels won't go amiss. Okay, I'm back from being the Vault Hunter that saved Christmas, but now it's time to be the Vault Hunter that saved Roland. I tried asking really politely if I could join the Bloodshots, but in order to prove myself, I need a new and improved murder mobile, so as you know, it's time to head over to the dust and politely borrow some bandit mobile parts with my best friend Ellie. With a new bandit car in tow, it's time to be accepted into my new family of bandits. The Bloodshot Stronghold is really where the game says, you should have gotten better loot, kid. And I won't say that I struggled, but I also won't say that it was a breeze. That's more so because I also tried to beeline this area too, and it's a bit enemy dense, but all in all, not a particularly bad time. By the way, in case you're wondering why I'm doing all of this, Roland said he'd let me join his esports team, the Crimson Raiders, if I helped him out. But this FUD keeps getting kidnapped. Where's the Doofenshmirtz meme? It's been a while since I've shoehorned that into a video. However, I am actually desperate to feel like part of something bigger. So I followed Roland and the Warden to the pickup point, and this is where I got to do my favourite thing ever. Standing still and vomit bullets into a constructor's eye hole. Someone add that to the list of weird things I said. Now that Warden's bit the dust, Roland says that my trial consists of taking out the robots that are coming our way. Now that I'm a full-fledged member of the Crimson Raiders, it's time to get coached by a pro, so Roland sends me out to go meet his old friend Mordecai, because apparently he's a really good sniper. However, despite being in the team, I need to prove how hardcore I am before Mordecai will take me under his wing, so I light myself on fire. How's that for hardcore? Apparently hardcore enough because I get the Birdman's attention, ask to see him in action, and he obliges by slagging up our enemies from a distance. This will probably be helpful. While I'm here, I've also decided that it would be sick content to rob a train, so I've enlisted the help of local dungeon master with an explosive personality, Tiny Tina. She says that in order to get real views and clickbait, I've got to use bunny rockets, but she has recently run out of rockets. So it's time to head over to the local bandit stronghold, because if anyone's going to have any spare missiles, it'll be them. And I was correct, but they are, and I quote, reticent to share our explosives with an outsider. So I just took them. I didn't want to have to do that, but they were reticent. What am I going to do? Then I blew up a bridge, which was oddly satisfying, and I attempted some good old-fashioned train robbery, but it turns out it wasn't a train, it was all a trap. But I had one advantage: I've played this game before. Anyway, there's no question about this fight. This big loser might have given the old team a hard time, but me, no. Overall, great time. Would do it again in the future, will not be doing it again in this video though. As a trophy, I take a super battery because I think it will just really impress Jessup. Dear God, that was also a trap. So now Jack is trying to bombard the city from the moon, and my first thought goes to if Private Jessup is safe. I actually even checked the wiki, and I have good news and bad news. The good news is he survived Sanctuary getting bombarded by Jack. He did not survive the Plant General DLC. But as long as we never touch that DLC, he is effectively immortal. Lilith chucked me out of the city so that I could be safe from Jack. However, flaw in our plan, this is Pandora, there's no such thing as safe. And while we're talking the topic of unsafe, it's time to head over to the fridge. I actually find that the sniper part of the run is actually much more fun here, because I've always found that rats get far too in my face, so being able to stay back a bit and pick them off is actually much more up my alley. After that rodent-based hellscape, it's time to head over to the Hyperion base to get myself a moonshot beacon so that I can get back to my friends. This is where the run starts to go dramatically downhill. I made my way through the base, okay? Took on the constructor by sitting back and holding down the shoot button, but then the Thresher made its appearance.
Fuck you!
And I'll level with you. I don't think this dude's supposed to be hard. I'm not supposed to have had this hard a time as I had here. But it just kicked my ass. A lot. Then it just died. Like, I've no idea how it happened. I've no idea, like, if the robots got it or if the game just took mercy. But I will not look a gift horse in the mouth. Now it's time to call the moon so that I can get a taxi to Sanctuary. Fending off robots here was fine. Yeah, I'm underleveled and I went down a few times, but that's kind of to be expected by this point. I made it. The main thing getting me through this run right now is the understanding that I've got a whole lot of side quests to help me catch up to the new level cap in Sanctuary. So with that said, and the moonshot having delivered the magical teleporty taxi, it's time to head home. You might remember roughly 14 seconds ago when we established that I'm underleveled and it's time to do some side quests. First of all, I find Claptrap's secret stash, and to celebrate we party. And then I went back to the fridge because I was terribly wrong about this place in my last video, and I really should clear it up in order to clear up my credibility. It turns out you can get pizza here. And now we round it off with the good, the bad, and the Mordecai. Mordecai tells us about some loot he lost a long while ago to a bandit named Carson. So first I do the sickest jump off Pride Rock, only to find that Carson has been taken to a local Hyperion prison. That's fine, I can clear that out too, but it is a bit inconvenient when we find out that he's not here, but instead he's at a local church or something. I don't actually know, I'm not paying a lot of attention at this point. So I do some fast and some furiousing up to the church and eventually find Mordecai's treasure. Unfortunately I also find Carson, who's itching for a standoff, and if that's not enough, Carson's #1 hater, Gettle, rocks up to make my life 200% worse. So it's pistols at high noon. But I explained the challenge to them and they were quite happy to let me use a sniper rifle. Then once I've exploited an obvious advantage, we finish up the quest, and it's not that great. Maybe the real treasure was the friends we made along the way. No, absolutely not. The real treasure was the farm. You see, in this game there's a really good sniper called the Lyuda. It's arguably the best sniper in the game, and for very good reasons. And I'm looking for an electric and a corrosive version so that I can just mow through the next few areas. To balance it out though, these are going to be underleveled pretty soon. Well, I suppose it's time to get back on track with the story. Mordecai has tasked me with causing some havoc in the local safari park, because, and I quote, "It would make great practice, kid," and I can't really argue with that. Now, if you haven't seen my last Borderlands 2 video, you fucking better. But at this point in the run back then, I had some real issues and I had to go back and grind a bit. But you might remember that roughly 3 minutes ago, I spent roughly an hour doing side quests, so now I cut through these losers like a hot knife through butter. Rounding off the area, we have to take on the biggest prey of them all, a bird. But for real, this bad boy right here can fit so many elements in it. Through the course of the fight, we go through in no particular order: slag, which is funny, until it's not. Then we have fire, electric, corrosive, and finally explosion. It turns out I entirely misread the situation though, since this particular bird is actually Mordecai's best friend. This is an awkward one. So Roland says I need to get bricked up, and even though I try to tell him that I'm always bricked up, it looks like I'm off to 1000 cuts anyway. On arrival, I notice the local gang, and of course I have to join because it will just make me look kinda cool. So I head up to meet Brick, the slab man, and suddenly it dawns on me that Roland didn't ask me to get bricked up, he asked me to hit brick up. No wonder he was disgusted earlier. So in order to prove that I've got what it takes to join the gang, I do what I always do: murder. And then for the cherry on top, we cannot ever allow Sarcastic Slab to live. And at this point I've got a small army behind me, and it's time to go take on Jack. Well, I thought it was Jack, but it's actually just a body double. You see, since the character One Eye Amaya only has one eye, I played the game with my right eye closed. I did irreparable damage to my vision just for the bit. Okay, I didn't actually, but it would be funny if I did. Now it's time to really kill Jack, which means climbing his totally not evil mountain base. He does throw quite a lot at me, but at this point, I'm actually feeling pretty good. My weapons are pretty decent, and it only takes me a few minutes to get to the bunker. I tell you what took ages though, me trying to get Face McShooty from up here. The bunker itself is fine, it's never really a threat, and having snipers just sped up the process a little, so all it takes is some time and patience. I really wish there was more to say, but like, the bunker's just a little guy being a little guy. And now he's a dead guy. Speaking of dead, it's time to take out Angel. She's not quite happy about her whole living situation, and in order to get her insurance money, we do need to kill her. So in order to do that, Roland is going to take the shields down on some pipes that are keeping Angel alive, and I'm going to go ahead and make them stop working. Roland does take absolutely forever though, so in the meantime, I'll entertain myself with the local robot community. Of course Jack isn't okay with this, so he makes it harder to get to the final pipe, but thankfully Lilith is here, and I can't think of a single way that this could go wrong. Fuck! And now Roland is gone and we've lost our siren. It's time to ruin some lives. Well gang, it's that time again where I try and look cool and end up failing entirely. Now it's well documented that I hate this part of the game, and I do not hate it any less with a sniper. I take on the ambush commanders and they really lose hard to phase lock in a good sniper. Then I have a real hard time blowing up this buzzard. I don't know what I was doing, maybe I hit my head or something, because it really doesn't get better from here. Then I tried avoiding mortar because I was planning this whole joke of like, oh, I want this done so bad, he's not even worth my time. But I'll be honest, the big buzzard's killed me a few times, so I ended up killing him because he was annoying me when I was waiting on the lift. And eventually I do get rid of all the buzzards, but it does take an annoying amount of time. You know the score. In order to access Firestone, we've got to play with a few pipes. So call me Super Mario because I'm hopping all over these pipes, getting real in about them until they're just about ready to burst. And that's exactly what the biggest pipe does once a daisy jukes a hazard all over it. Now it's time to kill Saturn, which with a sniper rifle is actually fun, until I run out of ammo, where I then have to run away and find some bullets. I swear, every time I sat down to record, I would say to myself, yeah, I'll go pay Earl a visit, and then I just simply wouldn't. I did come back with a vengeance though, and I took down the big old lump and his stupid beached whale looking friend over here, and then I downloaded Jack's search history, where I found a Google Maps search for the Vault of the Warrior. I guess it's time to head straight there then.
This is the final fight, amigo.
Okay, I actually decided that I wanted to take a break because this whole end of the world thing is actually quite stressful. That, and I quite like to showcase some of the cooler weapons in the game. This time I'm looking for a Pimpernel, and it's a cool sniper with a cool effect, so I'm hoping that I get a good one. Anything but fire really. I start off my vacation like every other time I've went abroad. I start fighting local gangs, and I have a good time doing it. Unfortunately though, I'm going to make a complaint to the manager about this, because it is not at all what I signed up for. Then I meet some weird dude who gives me his sand car, which I used to meet the subject of my horny for this video. Captain Scarlet can in fact step on me. I asked if she was the person who sent those pirates after me so I could complain, and she pointed me in the direction of Sandman. He sent his complaints handler after me, and I politely laid out my issues, which simply killed him. Then I killed Sandman because his customer service is awful. But I think doing that broke the game. I wasn't able to pick up the compass piece, so I just restarted and did it all again. This time they must have logged my complaint correctly though. Next, I'm off to see a man about a pirate lady. Old Greg over here says that if I help him out, he'll teach me how to make Scarlet love me.
Oh, yes.
So I go around learning his ways and bringing back his weird, creepy stalker tapes, and he gives me the item in the locked box. Despite being extra careful, I broke it, so he sends me to Washburn Refinery to get some stuff to fix it. It's here where I met Censorbot, and he's opened my eyes to the true problems of the horny. So together we go take on Perv the Perv Bot, because he is a sinner. Then Censorbot told me about the horrors of video game piracy. So I take out the scum of the earth that commit the worst crime ever, that I definitely would not recommend you do at every available opportunity. Anyway, now the mission's over and I get the Pimpernel. Mother of God, it's fire. I hate this fucking game. I'm gonna go do something better. I love D&D. I'm not quite good at it yet, but I love that shit. So I'm gonna roll for initiative and head over to Imagination Land. This is gonna be very important very soon. Everything that exists here is all part of a game, and none of it is real or has consequences on the main game. It's all imaginary. So I start off by doing something I seen in a video the other day to avoid all the chaos at the start of the mission, and then I bolted to town to get past some of the early game. I wanted to look like a cool speedrunner here so bad that I tried a skip for like 5 minutes, only to learn that I was way too early and couldn't get any of what I was looking for. So I had to do the walk of shame back to town to do some other side quests where I light some stuff on fire and help out Moxie. Here's where I had my biggest internal debate ever. In order to get what I want to show off in the DLC, I have to punch this guy so hard that he explodes. But that would be beating them without a sniper rifle. And I debated with myself for a long time. And I thought, dude, it's D&D. What's the problem? None of this is real. It's not like the real game where everything is real and everything that I do matters. So I punched him so hard he exploded. Then I farmed some tree ants. Why, you might ask? Because fuck tree ants. That and they dropped the bee shield. So with a bee and a bunch of 6 snipers in my hands, it's time to put a stop to Jack's plan. Alright, now it's time to hit the end game. No more distractions. As always, we start by catching up with my bestie Claptrap, and we take on my greatest foe yet, a door. The door sends waves and waves of robots at me, but what they don't know is, I drink my anti-robot juice every morning. By this point I'm so good at canning these robots they started calling me the Recycler, and I did exactly that. I recycled all of these robots into corpses. At the rate I'm going, I'll have enough metal to build my giant robot girlfriend any day now. Don't ask, you don't want the answer. Heroes Pass isn't actually that big a deal either. By this point, I am a walking god, and sitting back and sniping everything works 100% of the time. So the first 80% of the map is actually pretty fun. Then the super mega robo constructor makes me its bitch, which I suppose I kinda deserve that. I did call one a whale earlier. Here it's time for Jack to finally die. I got the Pimpernel pretty much just for this. I was hoping to use it on the warrior, but the warrior's fire, and this is fire, But do you know what hates fire? Jack and his weird, melty face. And now that Jack's a finely charred corpse, it's time to take on the warrior. By this point we know how the warrior works. It's kinda like a Tootsie Pop. You lick him on the outside repeatedly until you can get to the delicious chewy insides. So I get to licking. Despite going down more than your mum at Bottomless Brunch, I had zero doubts that this was nothing more than a test of patience. Like, the bar was ticking down, and sure, it might have been a trickle, but I'm okay with that. I probably could have had a generally better gear to make the work easier, but I did work with what I had. Once I've chewed through his chest cavity from the outside in, the warrior goes down, and I pray to my one true god, the holy sky sniper, and it delivers. Well, it turns out it is in fact possible to beat Borderlands 2 with only a sniper. Next time I do this game, I do want to do something wacky, so leave some wacky ideas down in the comments. It's pretty good for the algorithm. Anyway, this was a pretty good laugh, and I'm glad I did this run. I was going to do something different originally, but this was a better time. As always, if you like the video, give it a like. If you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about the channel today. You've been amazing. I've been Tally. I will catch you all next time. Bye.